This is part 2 of my Can You Beat Dark Souls 3 Overloaded challenge. If you haven't seen the first part, I'll leave a link in the description and a thumbnail right here. Anyway, I hope you enjoy the video. When we last left off, we defeated the Abyss Watchers. Since then, I've graduated college and I moved continents. But that aside, let's get back to the important stuff. I went through the skeletons one by one, realizing the butcher knife wasn't going to do much. I tried out using the club because of the blunt damage. Oh shit, that didn't work. I then had the chance to playtest Miyazaki's very own turn-based Dark Souls 3 mod. Of course, we won. It was just the tutorial. I grabbed a scroll that I had every intention of using but then completely forgot about, told Henri that there was absolutely no hope, ruffled through my inventory to try and find the halberd with the Perseverance Act, and then, this shit ain't nothing to me, man. Then it turned out that that shit was absolutely something to me, man. But I was never going to be fast enough to escape the big skeleton ball, so, I killed some of the skeletons, but to be honest, I let the bony boys get a taste of their own medicine a lot more than I should have. I make sure that I get the undead bone shard from killing this little hat-wearing skeleton, and I push deeper on into the catacombs, and I'm gonna be serious, this isn't edited. I went to smash these pots, and I actually almost crashed my fucking game. I don't know what happened, but dude, it was crazy. There was never any chance I was really going to be able to outrun the boulder, so the best I could do is this little speed walking attempt down there, getting hit on the way up and the way down. I decided to start praying to this big skeleton boulder, and in return, not only would they continue helping me, they would drop the bone wheel shield, allowing me to roll over enemies as a skeleton all by myself. But, of course, the real reason that I came down here was so that I could fight Soirig, and Soirig is a really tough opponent, boasting the Fumulture Greatsword from Dark Souls 2 and the Black Iron Tarkus Drip from Dark Souls 1. He hits hard, he's got crazy range, but he's not immune to the skeleton boulder, which, it's free for me. Sawyer worked me hard and he whooped me hard, but in the end I absolutely came out on top. Where is drops? So it turns out I'd killed the wrong Soirig, and because of that I kind of had to change plan because I wasn't any shape to be going down into the demon ruins right now. So I had to change plans. I went back to Firelink Shrine, upgraded the Cathedral Knight Greatsword to +3. I got a special surprise that'll help us later, and I unlocked the Deep Protection spell. Right back at it. We encouraged a seppuku before I proceeded to embarrass myself in front of literally everybody watching. It wasn't all bad though, as we did get to see just how powerful the Great Cathedral Knight sword had become. And then, for the next part, I'm not fast enough to get over the bridge with all of the skeletons watching me, so I figured I'd take this time to explain what Deep Protection does and why it's actually so good for our build. So Deep Protection increases all damage you deal by 5%, it decreases all damage you take by 5%, and it also just buffs your stamina recovery by 3, and those are all kind of things that we need because of how poor our stamina recovery is from being overweight. By the way, we're not actually able to get over this little ridge without jumping. I would have died. The smell in here reminds me of the average Elden Ring player, and on the topic, I'm going to do my best impression attempt at an Elden Ring challenge runner while Wolnir is sleeping. It allows me to completely nuke his first bracelet, as you can see there. It lets me take care of his second pretty well. I do get a bit scared when he starts walking towards me because, well, I'm as slow as Duskblood's dev team. Ultimately, Wolnir is pretty easy since I had prep time. It would have been a whole different story if I'd failed the first attempt though, because he's one of those fights that just gets way harder on the second attempt, like Gideon. I'm definitely not ready to go into Earthville yet, so I press deeper into the demon runes. I fail to block a completely straight fire blast, but given how heavy set my character is, I think there's only one way this could have gone. He engages in the only form of sport he knows, which is blood sport, absolutely bludgeoning the demon to death against the cold stone using his big Black Butcher's Knife. We do get absolutely flattened into the ground on multiple occasions, but our damage is just so high against the target that can't really hit straight in front of them. I don't ever think we were really going to lose this fight. What happened next is something that I'm extremely ashamed of. I'm just going to let the clip play. Oh my god. Whatever, I got back up and pwned him, Now that I've made it down into the ruins proper, there's only really one thing to do, and that's to fight the boss. So I'm going through my buffing routine outside. I'm using the Black Iron Great Shield with a fire infusion because it gives up to 100% fire resistance. I use the Deep Protection spell, and I walk through the fog gate. Curse Rot at Greatwood? No, I'm fine with that. I just didn't expect it to be Curse Rot at Greatwood. And at this stage of the game, there's not really a lot to be said about the fight. You know, I walked around spanking the hollows, I woke them up. I burst 3 nuts up above. And then we took a tumble down and, you know, I took care of his 2 balls down there. And I did a nice 360 hand job to finish it off. But actually going back down to the Demon Runes for real this time, I equipped the Wolf Knight Great Shield because I thought that it would give us a chance. But I learned the hard way that absolutely nothing can block the Arbalest, which really annoyed me. But like, I get it. Like, I do, of course, but like, you know, come on, man. I also learned that Iron Skin gives you a quadruple weakness to lightning. How insane is that? I have to actually re-get the footage of me killing the worm in New Game Plus, so I'm using the Path of the Dragon here way ahead of when I should have it. The main enemy in the runes are these little demon guys, okay? And so, first off, they hit strong. Like, they hurt, that big-ass cleaver. Secondly, they've got a lot of poise, so even if I hit them a bunch, they're still going to get off their first attack. And lastly, they summon this big floating ball. And this is another enemy. They summon another enemy. I eventually switched to using the Cathedral Knight's Greatsword just for the added poise damage so that they couldn't keep summoning them on me. I had a bit of a shopping list, including some Bone Shards, Estus Shards, and the Whitehair Talisman. I got to relive my Dark Souls 1 glory days. But then I came face to face with Soirig, the real Soirig. And I had to bait him up and around this cliff. Up in the rafters then, I tried shoving him, you know, giving him the patches treatment. I look over the railing, he survived. So coward that I am, I did my full buff routine, got on my heaviest stuff, and I went to fight Nightslayer Soirig, and he fell after about 3 attacks. From Soirig's body we can loot the Black Iron Great Shield. I get invaded, but bro is chill like that, and he kinda just RP walks with me for a little bit, gets familiar with my game. But before turning off the Arbalest, I decided to use it to go deeper into the Demon Runes because the only way in there is jumping, and that's a clear violation of the rules, and I'm not a cheater. Yeah, I never cheat in my videos. Moving on to the next room, I only included these clips because look at the health all these guys lived on. And it's not like I hit them with the same attacks, those are 2 different numbers. He lived with like 2 HP. And then the second guy lived with like 1, bro. Broke my heart. I went to finish looting the runes, I bought the Black Iron set, and then I went to go and buy some miracles, but unfortunately, my girl was already in VC with Chad. I did unfortunately get the bad ending on this quest, but it literally doesn't fucking matter at all. I tell her to talk to the hand because the face ain't listening and she leaves VC. Worst part is she doesn't even get the joke because she's blind. I actually decided to go and fight the Demon King this time. No, please, don't click off the video, please, I promise. Look, okay, please, just keep watching. I know it's really boring, I hate this boss too, but please, just keep watching. Look, please, don't judge me. The job market is really bad right now, and I need this YouTube shit to work out. Like, I'm serious, man. I can't go back on the streets. But... oh, I'm sorry. Okay. The old Demon King fight was pretty easy. It was kind of just an Or1 spam. It's the same as the regular demons. They can't hit that far in front of them. It was a little bit scary at the end when I knew he was going to do, like, his big explosion attack, but given just how strong our block chance was from our Great Shield, and even, I don't think we needed it. The Black Iron Armor is just so strong versus fire, like, we were always going to be fine. After finally killing the old Demon King, we go for a run through the Loot Lake before finding Horus, and we kill him for honestly no reason. It becomes kind of a trend through the playthrough. After that, we proceed to go home and buy the Morn's armor, which is incredible for our playthrough, and then nothing. My final year of college began right when I hit this point in editing this video, and I haven't touched it in like 9 months. In this time, I graduated with a second class honors, grade 1, but I also stopped doing things I love doing. I stopped playing games and making videos, stopped going to the gym. I'm really still just picking up the pieces from that final year. So if you've made it this far, I really just want to say thank you. And don't forget to like and subscribe. Yep, let's go, baby. Subscribe, like, and subscribe, please. Making our way into the Boreal Valley, I take out the 2 time-traveling dogs in a much more convincing fashion than I ever have. Really, they can't do anything to you with the Iron Skin active, as the little tail bounces off of you, and they just don't have enough poise damage to knock you over. The Pontiff Knights originally kind of scared me because I know that they've got a lot of attacks that hit through your guard and a lot of elemental attacks, but really, if you hold up the shield, they're just going to keep hitting into you. The Fire Witches, on the other hand, you guys are seeing a clip that this repeated multiple times during the playthrough. This is the only one I'm including, and it's why I really just don't like the Fire Witches. No matter what you do, they have minions, right? And you have to stay far back, and then you have to inch closer while their fire is just pushing you back. And to top it all off, when you get too close, they use a grab attack. I had to wait around this corner like I'm playing Shadow of Mordor to get a stealth kill on these guys. The Fire Witches are cool, but my god, they were too much work in this playthrough. I don't even mind not being able to roll. The biggest kicker and why this playthrough was so long was just that you have to walk everywhere so slowly. I am not schmoving. This clip is sped up 10 times, and as you can see, it still just takes me so long to get anywhere. And it kind of de-incentivizes exploring. To vent my stresses of being obese and having to walk 15 feet, I killed this filthy Dex user for no reason. I think it was a questline thing. I don't really remember. I killed this guy, grabbed the bone shard. On the way down to the sewers, there is one more Fire Witch, but you can sneak up on him pretty easily, and he didn't use a grab attack, so I was fine. Then I got into combat with the best Souls 2 NPC, and to be honest, he gave me no trouble. I think the easiest fights in this game are always going to be the NPC ones for us. Iron Flesh just makes their attacks bounce off us. It's not really fair. I explored the sewer filled with these centipedes, and I actually did come back and farm them for quite a while, because we can one-shot them and they have a chance to drop budding green blossoms, which give us even higher stamina regen, but I found out it's only one of them that can drop it. We chop it up with OG, we go and we find Smo's hammer. Let me tell you about Smo's hammer. The weapon description reads, Twisted Great Hammer, associated with Smo, the last knight to remain at his post guarding the ruined cathedral. Smo's hammer does great damage, with great scaling, although it's heavier than an elephant hopped up on MDMA and it blocks 90% of your screen. It's not unusable. But that's not where I'm taking issue. Restore HP while attacking, a carryover from Smo's past as an executioner. Do you guys know what the formula is for Smo's Great Hammer healing? Max HP times 0.001 plus 1. 1/1000th of your HP plus 1. 2! It heals 2 HP! And this is not an underestimate or a joke, unless you have over 2000 HP, in which case it only heals 3 HP, by the way. This is a completely negligible amount. I went into this run thinking this would be a really cool and fun weapon to use, and it would be like an all-hit run like they do in Elden Ring. It's the Butcher Knife, but it's even shittier. A lot of enemy attacks in this game do just kind of bounce off of you if you have Iron Skin on. Like, these dogs can't bite me and this guy can't stab me. But that kind of sums up all of Earthel, so I'll just skip the important stuff. Let's get to the Pontiff. This is the moment of glory for the spear we spent so long to get. There was so much hardship. The first few swings of this fight are fine. We steadily outpace him because of our high damage resistance, and he doesn't really hit us with a lot of the attacks if we're standing straight in front of him. The dark resin on the spear really helps to just do so much damage. We're able to get 600 damage in just a couple of swings. All good things must come to an end though. Pontiff kneels down, entering his second phase and launching a huge magic blast at us, reminding us that we have to rebuff ourselves as well because we're already taking way more damage than we should be. I opt to switch back to the Butcher's Cleaver here because the big diagonal swipes are just much better for punishing the two opponents. We do take a lot more damage in phase 2, obviously because there's two of them, but also just because we can't keep our guard up against so many attacks. We're going to have our guard broken eventually. The two targets does also mean two healing sources, and don't get me wrong, we're not out of the woods yet just because the clone has died. We still need an opening and we're deathly low on Estus. All we can do is just struggle along to survive against the Pontiff's onslaught until he eventually gives us the chance we need. Switching to our Cursed Great Shield to block his last few attacks, he goes to resummon his clone, and this gives me the idea to just go for broke. It might have been a mistake though, as the clone and Pontiff quickly overwhelm us. We barely managed to win the fight by getting our last couple of swipes in. Well, options like Magic Shield and Magic Barrier would be amazing for our build, as we have such a weakness to magic. Before we leave though, we do make sure to destroy all of his nerd shit. For the moment that I've been dreading, the Earthhill dungeon. I really thought that this was going to be the hardest part of the run. I thought I was going to get stuck here. I thought we weren't going to be able to progress, but to be honest, it was easy. Everything here is slow, or is super weak to a certain damage type, like these little guys in cages. They can get two-shot by just a regular spear attack. They aren't that bad to deal with. We grab the shortcut, we continue on. Even the Mimic we can just deal with. We encourage another Sudoku here, and then we continue pushing on past the big sleeping giant, grabbing cell keys and killing the big New York rats. Again, the jailers are just kind of slow, and it does help that we're so slow. We can also just creep around them. They don't really aggro on us, so we're able to just take them out one by one, getting some use out of the follower javelin's ranged attack here. And even if they get too close, hit a nasty little 360 on him, pump it into his chest, and you're just fine. Like, it's not that big a deal. I really did take my time going through the area though. I got hit by this attack, which I had no idea even existed, but I looked it up. It's a reference to Dark Souls 1's Drake Sword. Killed the Gargoyle, got the Flame Spear. I considered this for this playthrough, but with how good the Butcher's Knife has been, I don't need to. I make a mockery of the dead by looting him in front of the bonfire. We loot Patrick Star and we continue on to the Profane Capital. And don't get me wrong, the dungeon was a pain, but getting peppered by these ground enemies here just trying to cross the bridge made me realize that the capital is going to be just as bad. Hold on. The Gargoyles do, however, have a huge bludgeoning weakness, which means the Cathedral Knight Greatsword gets quite a bit of use down here. We mow down the common man in front of Yorm's boss room. They're a very easy enemy for us to kill as they're slow and don't do a lot of damage. But then I did this. Despite the Great Shield of Glory having by far the highest stability in the game, the stamina debuff it gives you just makes it not viable for our build. I engage in some jolly cooperation before him dying fucking immediately, and then I have probably the hardest non-boss fight of the run against this giant fat elephant iPad baby. Pushing deeper into the Earthhill prisons, we rescue OG and then we take. We pillage remains to get the jailer's key and then rescue the goth mommy who I was supposed to give the books to. We step out and gaze onto the beautiful Anor Londo skyline before delving back down underground to fight some more time-traveling dogs. And look, if the two before were anything to go off of, we're just far too strong for them. There was kind of a scary moment where we couldn't use Iron Flesh because I know that they have a lightning attack and we're on the water, but aside from that, our raw damage and even our stance damage from the cleaver is just so impressive that we wouldn't have needed it anyway. We could just kill them, get the Fap Ring, and then one must imagine Sisyphus as happy. But I am not Albert Camus, and I am not playing as Sisyphus, so we reach the top handily. The Silver Knights are not enemies that I was super worried about. They honestly aren't so bad. They could be killed, like most things, and you can sneak around them pretty easily. I took like 3 minutes of my day to walk down this fucking hallway. I was so mad, dude. I had to walk all the way back. And not even for good loot, by the way. If I'm Gwyn and I die and my son puts this grey loot in my throne room, I'm gonna be so mad. It's fine though, because we made it to the Anal Rodeo. But before pressing any further into there, I take a ride on the magic carpet and I meet the most niche furry in the Dark Souls series. Maybe even anything Miyazaki's ever created. Who knew about Yorshka? She got a great chime, and I feel like that's the only reason people know about her. Maybe for the Darkmoon stuff if you're into that, but I would never touch that. We go and we help Cirrus of the Sunless Realm invade another Best Souls 2 NPC, and we handle him pretty easily. Creighton was nothing to worry about for us. Wait, what? Oh my god, I forgot the fucking line. This is what I've really been worried about though. The Dancer of the Boreal Valley is a notorious roadblock for those who seek to link the flame. And for a normal player, the reason she's tough is because of her off timing, or her high health, or maybe you fought her at the wrong point in the game. We don't really have those issues, you know? Our biggest issue is her split damage, her excessive aggressiveness, her willingness to multi-hit combo, and worst of all, her grab attack that waits out our cooldowns. Due to the nature of our build though, and the fact that she is not using heavy weapons, Iron Skin does a good job at forcing some of her smaller attacks to bounce off of us. The big scary attacks are of course the Beyblade attack that you're seeing now, and the attacks where she will do pure elemental damage. The Dark Great Cathedral Knight's Shield is good at blocking dark, it gets 98% of the way there, but we can't factor in the fire. And with all of the stamina drain placed on us by being obese, and all of the stamina required to block all of her attacks, there's just nothing that we can do. You know what, man, maybe I just need a vacation somewhere nice and warm away from all this. Or this works. Yeah, this definitely works. I really love the painted world in Dark Souls 1, but I'm not as big a fan in Dark Souls 3. I do like these follower enemies. I think they've got some unique drip, and the Millwood Knights are definitely awesome too, and there's a lot of good loot here, but something about it just doesn't hit the same to me. Maybe it's the landscape or the level design, but pushing this guy out a window was pretty great, and within these ashes are the best weapon that we're going to get for this playthrough. I just didn't know it yet. But there is no running from your own destiny forever, and I decided to turn and face it like a man. But this attempt of Dancer was different. I had a chip on my shoulder. I had something to prove. I knew in my heart that I could beat the Dancer with my current setup, and I didn't have to change anything. Look at the damage I'm dealing. Look at how little damage I'm taking. I'm able to heal, I can step back, I can even reapply my buffs. There is nothing stopping me from defeating the Dancer except for what is in my own head. Or so I thought. I died again and again and again until something just snapped. Something inside of me.
I didn't care about being better than Kakarot. I didn't care about being the Super Saiyan. I didn't care if I lived. I didn't care about anything. And then it happened.
The dancer had fallen, and celebrations could only last for a few meek moments. Lothric Castle is a whole different beast than what I have seen so far, and honestly, I still didn't feel ready. Look at how long a fight against a single knight took. Ransacking the entire castle took so long. The spoils were good, yes, but I didn't know if I could keep going like this. Enemies with specialized tech to take away my healing. So many items and upgrade materials I could barely even carry. But with the light comes the promise of safety and reflection. This area uniquely is very fun to play through when you're overloaded, and I don't know what it was about it, because this Outrider Knight wasn't very fun, but that's what I'm choosing to talk over. I think it's just the variance in enemies, and they're all quite humanoid. There's not a lot of grabs. It really feels, I guess, Dark Souls 1-esque. The exact same way that shooting this knight's crossbow with totally legally obtained lightning arrows at this dragon, we finally get our weapon to +10, ignore that, and then we look at our build. This is almost finalized. We kind of came together as a bit of a jack of all trades, master of none. Oh yeah, we're definitely not a master at anything yet. Scars of Lothric Castle being an early game area for the majority of Dark Souls 3's development are ever present, and the one I want to focus on is the Londor Divine Braille Tomb. This is found in the penultimate dungeon. You are getting your level 60, 70, 80 maybe, and you want some cool new weapons that you can maybe use against the final boss. You got 3 Lords of Cinder down. You could even go into the first DLC. You are powerful. And what does this tome give you? Greater Blessing and Blessed Weapon. These would have been really useful earlier in my playthrough, but I'm just so strong that I have no need for them. If I got this right after Vort, or maybe even at the Cathedral of the Deep, this would be perfect. It would be a nice upgrade to Blessing. Blessed Weapon will be good on some of my weapons, but when I get it so late, it's just so pointless. And in honestly such a well-polished game, coming out 10 years ago, looks beautiful, still holds up to this day. The bosses are still so fun to fight. It's just so strange that these little blips made it through development. I do love doing NPC quests, and Hawk Tuah is no exception. Look, I'm a big Jolly Cooperation guy, sue me, okay? And besides, it's not like I'm not gonna help him out later. And look, I'll even give you guys what you want. This is for the YouTube audience at home. I'll let him just get fucking trounced for a while. This is what you guys wanted. But Hawk Tuah is a huge help to us as he lets us get the Magic Stoneplate Ring right in time for probably my least favorite boss in the game. That was all of Osiris in exactly 1 second, just so you guys didn't have to watch. I just care. I care about the YouTube audience. I care about the people at home. I've never gone to Archdragon Peak this way, but I didn't really want to go back through the prison considering how fucking heavy I was. I engaged in this slug match versus the gargoyles, and honestly, it's remarkably easy how quick it is to get here. Nothing else was really aggroing on me, so I can kind of just sidle up along the corridors, kill these 2 guys just doing their own job, minding their own business, do a little loop-de-loop, fly up the elevator, check what's up there. It's Lightning Blade, I didn't know that. And then we take a nice comfy seat and wait. Like any fat man is for his first ever physical test, I was nervous about the Ancient Wyvern fight, just given, you know, it's more of a Tycoon crash course than a boss battle, but I figured I'd give it a good old college try. We do kind of get pounded into the wall by his flame, but we get a lucky break here and there, and it's kind of funny, all the enemies are designed in a way that they kind of want to hit where you're gonna be and not where you are, and since I'm as slow as paint dripping down a wall, I'm nowhere. So I kind of just get to backstab all of them for free. I even take the time to take out the mages up top because I know it's going to become a problem. And then this absolutely broke my heart. Look how close he is to death. One more swing, I get peppered. I'm like, oh shit, oh my guard blocked it, my guard blocked it. Oh my god, back up, back up. And I just get peppered. One little fireball straight into me. Oh! Look, dude, I was big mad. I'm not afraid to admit it. I get angry at Dark Souls 3 sometimes, especially when it's such a tedious chore like this. Next attempt, though, we made it all the way back up to the top. We're wearing full black iron for the flame resistance. And this had been my first playthrough in like 8 years, so I forgot where you meant to jump from, so I kind of missed the landing. But then something awkward happened when we landed on him. We didn't do the normal plunging attack. We were just so fucking fat. We broke his neck into pieces. And look, the rest of Earthstricken Peak was just a pain. I don't want to edit it down. It is just me dying on repeat for like 90 to 120 minutes. But I do want to show you this cool strategy where I had to block the fire here, but I still cooked the little lizard guys alive. But why are you in Earthstricken Peak? You have so much more to do in Lothric. Havel. Havel the Rock is why I'm here. Havel is notorious among Dark Souls gamers for slaughtering them at the start of the game and taking no damage, and for good reason. Havel's armor boasts the highest defense stats in Dark Souls 1, and I thought the highest defense stats in Dark Souls 3. I called in my boy Hawk Tuah, and we got to it, bro. With Havel executed, it was time to pay Hawk Tuah back in kind. Even though he really did resist help as much as he possibly could have, we still had to drag Hawk Tuah all the way up there. Escort missions in Dark Souls are rare. I think this is like one of maybe 2 you have to do, and so you've got to quit out and reset them. But just like a little kid, they run all the way ahead of you, and then they bounce all the way back, and they're like, "Dad, look what I found!" And you just gotta, monitor Hawk Tuah as he walks up the mountain, just in case he falls or something. But that day, Hawk Tuah and I became dragons together. First him, and then in his footsteps, I. Another spoil of war from Havel, however, was him dropping his weapon and his shield. They are both uniquely good, powerful items. Well, sorry, the shield is a little ununique as it's just a crazy good shield. What's unique is that it has a built-in iron skin on the weapon art, and the weapon actually increases our magic and fire resist by 10% each while equipped. That's right, the Dragon Tooth gives you resistances while you have it. This is really useful for a certain incestuous boss we'll find later. But even after begging Hawk Tuah, look, this stupid gag is dated, right? It was dated when I wrote it. It was dated months ago. It's been like a year. I still get headlines on Google search like, "Look how Hawk Tuah has had a glow up," and I'm mad about it. But whatever, you won't have to see him again. Watch. There, he's dead. Hawkwood is dead. You'll have to hear about it again. The Dragon Tooth sucked, by the way. But while I'm in the area, I figured, let's grab Havel's Drip. My god, I came out of there looking saucier than a plate of carbonara. The only problem, though, is the helmet still kind of sucks. We travel back to the Londo, that's slang. If you guys don't know, I'm using the slang. We pay our respects to the fallen. We continue on through the cathedral and we decide to buff up before our fight. And look, I have a bone to pick with Aldrich. You probably think that I don't even like this game with how much I'm complaining about all of the bosses, but Aldrich is easily my least favorite major boss in the game. To have this arena and be made of the Four Lords of Cinder from Dark Souls 1 and Gwyn's son, and just kind of blow chunks, like, it's just not fair, man. For the actual fight though, we used Magic Barrier and Bountiful Restoration, and they stack for some reason. I thought they would both be body buffs, but I would be wrong. The fight was kind of negligible. I mean, we're really over leveled to be fighting him anyway. We switched to the Dragon Tooth in our offhand every now and again to get some added magic resistance. But to be honest, Aldrich never stood a chance. We had a penance for taking out magic users. I had a chip on my shoulder, and this fight was wrapped up quicker than an interview with a pro-Palestine celebrity. Knocking off some more NPC quest lines, I decided to go and help Sirris abuse the elderly. And oh my god! Oh, okay, I'm alive. Never mind. We finished beating him down. And I guess it was just like random bullshit side quest day, because I went to the Untended Graves where, honest to god, I get my ass handed to me. Firstly, I get parried again, 2 times in like 2 seconds, and then, using the power of friendship, this random hollow and this daughter of Camille managed to stun lock me. Look, it is a low point when you're getting killed by actually the first enemy in the game. But luckily for me, on our second go around, revenge was pretty easy to get. And that was the hardest fight down here. That's not to say the Gundyr fight wasn't hard. The Gundyr fight was really hard, but it was more so I was hard. There was a real hetero-romantic tension between us as we fought. The lovers' duel, unironically, was quite difficult though, given how aggressive he is and how reserved I was trying to be because I was playing the field slow. How buff dependent we are. The only saving grace is that all of his attacks are blockable. Our physical defense is stupid high, but he didn't want it, and now all we got is Brokeback Untended Graves. Quick level up, and then we run back to the Profane Capital. I don't think I touched on this in the first video, but the reason I picked Cleric as my starting class was kind of just because it had the lowest vitality, and I thought it was quite funny. If you've ever had to do the run back to this boss, you're probably thinking it's not that bad. It's definitely that bad when you're moving at 2 frames per second. But look, we stand at the fog gate, we buff up, and we get ready. But this isn't our story.
Yhorm, old friend. I, Siegfried of the Knights of Catarina, have come to uphold my promise. Let the sun shine upon this Lord of Cinder.
We take a backseat to this fight, watching OG get it on with presumably his Gundyr, and if I'm being honest, I don't consider the challenge invalid because I did this. Like, yeah, it's an NPC, don't get me wrong, the challenge is definitely invalid for other reasons than this, but this fight is still piss easy, even if I'm overloaded, because all of his damage is physical, all of his damage is blockable, his attacks are super slow, and I kind of feel the fight is just way cooler with Siegfried here. Like, it's definitely more fun to play, and I don't know if it's more fun to watch. But, guys, if you don't like this, feel free to leave a dislike, an angry comment, report my page, and if you want to, you can even send an explosive device to my house. But, of course, as anyone knows, there is more than one way to skin a cat, and Yhorm as a fight, I didn't even bother picking up the Storm Ruler here because, again, it's thematic. And 2, you deal pretty good damage to his arms and really good damage to his head. When I was like a kid, I always thought like this fight was so difficult because like he takes no damage if you don't hit him with the Storm Ruler. It's really doable, and I kind of get why people do it using bad weapons, but not the Storm Ruler, because it can be kind of a unique fight. But the best thing I can attribute it to is being like a Demon Souls fight. And I love Demon Souls, but I don't want to play Demon Souls right now. OG decides to go down for a little afternoon nap, and it makes sense, you know, he is an old head. I teleport back to Firelink Shrine, and I just, you know, murder another NPC for no reason. She isn't even aggro at the end of her questline. I just killed her. I don't get an achievement from this. There's nothing more I could have gotten. Why did I do this? What's wrong with me? But shields must be really strong in PvP, and maybe I overlooked them when I was playing Dark Souls 3 PvP. When I invaded Leonard here, even through his mixed attacks, he wasn't really doing anything. I kind of just put him in a blender. You can see I face tank a lot of his attacks, even his charged attacks, and not really at any cost to my own health. I think I got an achievement from doing this, I'm not really sure. But it was finally time to fight the Dragon Slayer armor, and I'm gonna be honest, I was terrified of this fight. It feels like he just does everything we do, but better. We've got a 4 times weakness to lightning if we wanted to use Iron Flesh, and his insane guard break damage led me to putting it off almost as long as I can. But just like with the Dancer, the bells do toll for everyone. We use Deep Protection and the Dragon's Tooth. We mix and matched armor sets for the highest possible lightning result. The fight was intense. 2 heavily armored men going at it, probably getting really hot and sweaty under their arm. No, I can't think of that. I need to be strong for Gundyr. The fight was actually really fun though. It was kind of whoever strikes first loses situation. There were so many close calls. Almost all of our attacks force the character into a backflip guard break animation, which is super dangerous as we can easily get stun locked off of that. But ultimately, the Dragon Slayer fight ended in a clutch, and I don't think any description I can give will go over as well as just my live reaction. Oh, look at me. Like, it's that dark though, it's a bit scary. Fuck. Okay. Fuck. Oh, shit. No! Yes! Okay. Okay, it's fine. Block this. Okay. Okay. No. No! Fuck. I knew that dark would be the... No. Oh, I'm cooked. No. Okay. Not like... No! Yes! Okay. What the... Okay. No! Okay. Just... Okay, just one more. Okay, yes! Okay. Please. Yes, man! Fuck! First try! Fuck! Yes, dude! Arriving at the Grand Archives, the penultimate dungeon of the game, I felt strong with this new electric tool in hand. No, not like a power tool. Like I guess it's an axe. It says axe, but I've never seen an axe like this. Whatever it is, it blows the balls off of the crystal stage. We take time to kill some of the locals before we come face to face with the final Outrider Knight. And he didn't see us at first until he felt how hard we were getting standing behind him. Pause, rewind, resume, until he felt how hard we were getting behind him. I'm just kidding. This fight is an incredibly easy one, rewarding his armor, which we absolutely never used, and a lot of souls, which we absolutely did use. Then, going up onto the roof, we break this flame gargoyle into pieces. He dropped another flame spear. We get this lovely little 2-for-1 special, before we take a few minutes to just soak in the beauty of Dark Souls 3 from the Grand Archives roof. It's the final scene of Dark Souls 3. You really gotta appreciate this game's art style. But then it's time to go and play raid boss for this party of wannabe heroes. Applying our buffs like an Elden Ring challenge runner, even with calm all over our face, we're more than able to take 3 guys all at once from the front. Using our gigantic Dragon Slayer's axe like a portable nuke, we were easily able to deal with their onslaught. The first to fall was the Best Souls 2 NPC, and then we killed the disgusting weeaboo. And then I spent fucking ages, trying to parry the mage, because I was like, how cool would it be if we used her dead bro's shield to just parry all of her spells? But to be honest, it was kind of a gamble. I gambled like 50 to 60% of my aura, trying and then failing. I 3-shot her after, which I guess you could argue, you know, does give me some of the aura back. But then it was time for the Brothers Grimm, and I could barely even handle the bottom. This fight took ages. I spent 15 minutes on phase 1, only to instantly die in the second phase with no resistance left. But look, I'm not gonna do another bit. We went in there using Great Magic Barrier instead of Deep Protection. We took very little damage. We were using the Dragon Tooth for reduced magic damage. Even in the second phase, our HP barely ticked down. We were trading blows with the island boys, and we managed to throw Lothar from his biodegradable wheelchair a couple of times. Using our portable nuke, we did an express study on how the human skull will react to 3,000 pounds of force combined with a lightning bolt, and the results won't shock you as much as it shocked him. He just died. Like, that's it. Like, yeah, he just died. I feel a little bad because he had no stake in this war at all. He was just born and they expect him to suffer eternally. But that was it. The final Lord of Cinderfeld.
Noble lords of Cinder, the fire fades. And the lords go without thrones. Surrender your fires to the true heir.
The ashes placed upon their once willing thrones and the ritual conducted by the Firekeeper. We made preparations to topple not only a god, but a mirror of the self. Every journey to have ever been made ends in him, both as the self and as an adversary. Dark Souls may not have intended for it to be this way, but the final battle being your past self is ever fitting for this fight. Unfortunately, my headphones died like right at the start of the fight, so OBS didn't pick up the audio, and my gorgeous girlfriend was asleep behind me, so I didn't really want to start clattering around for my spare pair. So I am sorry for the lack of audio. It has been about 6 years since I had last played Dark Souls 3, and to be honest, it hadn't aged well in my mind. I remember disliking the linearity of the game, thinking the bosses were slow and uninteresting, and of really just not liking the final boss, thinking that it was too easy. The game's level design definitely is the weakest we had seen from the incredible FromSoft team, and while I'm not entirely incorrect in what I said, slowing down my game and playing as a turtle, a tank, a walking bastion, whatever you want to call it, did breathe new life into this game for me. I truly loved taking the areas slow and steady, one at a time, and relearning every boss's moveset just to counter them in this new and unique affliction I'd found myself under. But semantics aside, this was the most straightforward fight in the run for me. Our build was fully realized, our opposition had been studied, and I knew in my heart, however heavy it was, that this was the end of the journey. With the soul of Cinder put back to rest, not indefinitely, the journey was finally at an end.
first flame quickly fades. Darkness will shortly settle. But one day, tiny flames will dance across the darkness. Like embers linked by Lord's Pass. Ashen One, hearest thou my voice still?
But as everyone knows, this is not to be the end, for there is another. For Gwyn had a son. So first, I just want to show you guys the build post-game. We're going in at 111 because it's an angel number and I need that good luck. We're using the Sentry Belvine because it's still my goat. And this fight took well over 10 attempts. But I did not reach the Nameless King in a single one. The Storm King, unbeknownst to me, was something of a kryptonite for our build. Its AoE fire bypasses shields. Yeah, all of your shield, it doesn't matter where you're facing. All of its jumping around really slows our DPS. I wasn't fully comfortable wielding the awesome power of the Dragon Slayer's Great Axe yet. Hoping it would live up to its reputation, I still chose it, however. But for the main event, the Son of Gwyn, I instead chose to use the Millwood Axe for reasons that I will get into shortly. If you thought the Dragon Slayer armor was bad, the Nameless King is like his dad, kind of. I think actually Ornstein might be like his uncle, or like, you know, like the family uncle, like your dad's best friend kind of a thing. His uncle, his mom's new boyfriend, whatever you want to call it. It's all rolled into one, actually. He's more aggressive, more mobility, more health, and even worse, more lightning damage. We never really get a chance to reapply buffs versus this boss, even going with the Saint and Find Talisman for the increased spellcasting speed. By the way, undisputed MVP in the non-weapon category, non-shield category, by the way. Even then, we were never able to get off a bountiful light cast. The fight was turn-based, but it was never my turn. It was a role-playing game where I role-played the victim. Havel's shield did a fine job at blocking his damage, as I can't be asked grinding for the Lothar Great Shield and infusing it and upgrading it to plus 10. On the plus side, our damage was absolutely incredible. We just needed an opening, and we got it occasionally. He takes too long on a lot of his charge-up attacks, namely the one where he raises it to the ground and slams it into the floor. And ironically, with the speed of lightning and the power of thunder, we minced the Nameless King into unlabeled hollow mints, placed him into a nice little plastic packet, popped him in the freezer aisle, and for good measure, slapped on a yellow sticker. And that was it. With the Nameless King put to a definite rest, the journey was finally at an end. I'm just playing, you thought I wouldn't do the DLC? But first, a quick word from our sponsor, the Millwood Axe. Are you a fat fuck? Can you dodge 0 attacks? Do you struggle to see the little hollow in your pants when you look down? Do you get obliterated by any ranged attack used by a boss in Dark Souls? Well, look no further. The Millwood Axe, with its built-in run and jump, lets you dodge even the most devastating attacks from the toughest bosses, and it can be yours today for the low, low price of Find It on the Ground. So, what are you waiting for? Get your Millwood Axe now! Okay, but seriously, the Millwood Axe damage and scaling and reach are all superior to the Butcher's Knife. The Millwood Axe can be buffed and it can even be infused. The Millwood Axe lets me run and jump and dodge attacks. It will undoubtedly be our weapon of choice for the horrors to come. In all seriousness, I only learned this before the Nameless King. I don't know if I would have won without this, and I certainly know I could never have beaten the DLC. I discovered this in a menu by pressing left trigger by mistake, and I was so shocked. I woke up my beautiful girlfriend who was sleeping behind me. I'm gonna be honest, I mainly use this jump to traverse. It is well faster than walking by quite a good margin, and it definitely made the painted world much easier. But I do have a confession to make. This is not the original save. The original save footage was corrupted when I moved from my girlfriend's. I was 15 hours of footage of me doing both of the DLCs. This is a reinterpretation of what happened. Events are similar, but not identical. In both instances though, this glorified large Titanite drop gave me no trouble. Freed, however, does cause a slight issue for me. She's hyper-mobile, hyperactive, and in her first phase, hyper-easy. We can easily set up our buffs in her face and catch up to her with our new jump attack. Alternatively, we can just face tank her damage. She cannot do anything to us in the first phase. She is too passive and our health bar is just too big. The start of phase 2 is a little bit scary just with the amount of damage being thrown around. We do get a good opportunity to rebuff at the start since they're both so far away from us though. We cannot use Iron Flesh versus Freed in her first phase. We will get mini staggered and take the same tick of damage 1,000 times and we will just die. The damage that we do to Ariane Delvo is absolutely disgusting. It's not even funny, and there's a way that we can arc and hit both of them at once. It is scary when he starts to run into the wall, putting the hitbox in the same spot every time, but given our natural advantage of being able to hit two of them and being used to taking so much damage, that phase got wrapped up quicker than a gift at Santa's workshop. We buff up for phase 3, ultimately just wasting mana as body buffs don't stack, and Iron Flesh is a body buff, and so is Power Within. So ultimately our preparations are rendered fruitless. I don't have much to say though. Sue me, it's the same phase just with a little bit more damage. I'm just glad this isn't Elden Ring because of how much more damage Black Flame does in that game based on your full HP. But look, it took like 10 swings and it was all wrapped up. The most important thing in the Ring City is shutting up the sexy abuelita on top of the Dread Keep. We push forward into the darkness and the angel lights, and I just want to say, fuck this area. Fuck it with a cold steel rod. The sound fatigue I get from listening to these fucking angels drove me fucking crazy. There is nothing more for me to say really, so I'm just gonna give you some cool music while you watch this. I guess it's gameplay, like, technically. And what's our reward? Oh yeah, it's the Twin Princes, but shitter. But look, I digress. This is probably one of the only boss fights that are dual boss fights that I'm not that big a fan of. The only other one I can think of off the top of my head being Godskin Duo. I really love Ornstein and Smough. I really love Ornstein and Smough. And this is a pale imitation, of course. I'll touch on that a bit more later. But I don't think that they understand how to make another fight that good. And it's not me saying that they're bad as developers. I think it's just that we've kind of progressed past what made ONS hard. What made ONS hard was that it was two different fighting styles you had to adjust to at the same time. And now that's kind of just a regular enemy encounter in Dark Souls or in Elden Ring. So you kind of are too used to fighting like this. The demon in pain and the demon from below hold a special spot in my heart. At the very bottom. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad fight, but it's like if they made ONS, but you have to beat them both and then you fight one of them again. It's not a bad boss, at least I don't truly think it is. I think it's the beginning of the Dark Souls 3 DLC issue where the bosses kind of become more like Elden Ring bosses than like Dark Souls bosses, but I don't really hate it. I like Elden Ring. A lot of Dark Souls YouTubers don't like Elden Ring at all. I like it. For our build, it turns it from this high-octane demon-slaying battle where you're dodging attacks, and we're kind of just playing whack-a-mole where they both tag in, taking turns getting smacked on the nose by our little death stick until they're both dead. And then the real Demon Prince just chips at me with fire damage, which is fine, but we just take so little fire damage. He gives us way too much time to heal, way too much time to apply buffs, and Havel's shield is just so incredibly good versus fire. But in the end, they fall like an ice cream cone from a small child's hand on a hot summer's day. Oh my god, that was just such a tough fight. I hate doing the Iron Golem. Anyway, leaving Sen's fun house, we arrive. Wait, oh my god, sorry. Wait, I'm looking at my notes right now. Sorry, this is for the wrong video. We finally arrive in the Ring City proper, and I'm sure all of you guys were like, oh, this part won't be possible. They can't do it. They cannot make it past the archers. Wrong. I can, and I did with ease. Magic Shield is genuinely just so good for this. Combine that with Iron Flesh, and even if I do somehow get shot by 1 or 2 arrows, I don't even get staggered. The original clip I did this in, someone invaded me in, and I got to use the seed of a giant tree for the first time ever and watch him get killed by the archers, and I was so excited to put it in the video, but I wasn't able to do it, so you get this skeleton instead. We push forward, ready to destroy the big guy, taking our revenge on him while of his archers look on, unable to notch their bows with enough fervor to reach us. I had just finished editing the first part of this, and I remember, oh look how cheeky Medea is on that cliff. I remember I made a comment about how I never use my binoculars, so here, me using them in an aesthetic way. I then get promptly reminded this is the definitive Dark Souls experience. I spent like 15 minutes fighting these bramble guys, either missing jump attack after jump attack and having to manually cut them down to size, or just getting bullied down into a corner by their big loop attacks. There was even a point where he tried to show me how it was done and he got a jump attack on me, which really upset me, but it was the middle of the night so I couldn't say anything. The only actual jump attack I was going to get, I got interrupted and he jump attacked me right on top of bro I was trying to jump attack. I was livid when this happened. That little monkey freak landing on me and stunning me really upset me. I did finally get the plunging attack, and it did look as cool as I remembered, and it is a nice nod to Dark Souls 1. Then it's time for Midir's Runway. It's easy, we take no fire damage, we have so much HP, it kind of was never going to be hard unless his fire bypassed shields. It does take ages, but through gritted teeth we eventually make it to the top of the mines. Speaking of taking ages and doing something through gritted teeth, we had to get Midir off of her cliff. We stung around at her fingers like a little mosquito at a large pregnant woman, before we finally knocked Midir and we were able to walk up and spank her down to the arena, sending her to her room where we will deal with her later. Honestly, this was one of the funniest fights I ever had versus Half-Light in my entire life. I'm able to kill the minion in like 4 straight shots, but it was against an actual player, which I was very surprised by. He had some sort of build. I don't think it was good at all, considering I took no damage. He let me buff up in his face, and then he got a hit off the like maybe 15% of my HP. And then I just clicked right bumper on my Xbox controller, and he just fucking died, bro. The state of Dark Souls 3 PvP in 2026 is the exact same, just quick war 1. I hear you, brother. It takes forever to go anywhere. I've never been more sympathetic to your cause in my life. I quit out originally when I ran into Gale, just so that I would have more time to buff. So this is technically a first attempt, and it was a first attempt on the other save as well. His first phase is absolutely harder than his second and third for this build though, boasting a grab attack, erratic movement with long combos, and some hefty dark damage. Havel's shield isn't exactly perfect here, but it's the best we're gonna get. We put Magic Shield to good use here, inspired by the Ring City Archers. Thanks guys! If there's one thing I will always remember, it's when a boss is weak to elemental effects, and Gale here cannot drink at the tipplers. He's got a bad stomach and a penance for the good stuff. Gale is extremely easily poisonable, which stacks up over time, feeling like a pseudo Scarlet Rot from Elden Ring. And I have to say that I'm not too terribly upset that I have to refight a lot of these DLC bosses. It was extremely fun. We do get to a very scary point in the fight where Gale just won't let me rebuff my shield, but for the perk 30s I'm a fiend. He starts to OD and that's when we get our chance. From there it is just barbecue chicken to finish Gale off. And last on the list, to the surprise of none, is Dark Eater Midir. I spent so long fighting Midir my first time playing this game, that I honestly have it all mapped out on how to either dodge or block most of its attacks. It was just about putting it all together again, and this was my third attempt versus Midir on this save, and to be honest, I'm just more upset that I don't really have any cool clips to show you guys rather than being upset that I have to redo the fight. Our damage is incredible. 500 per hit, the small weapon with great range and no stamina cost means we can devote our entire playstyle to using our shield like a roll, frame perfectly blocking when he gets too close and going on the offensive when he isn't in the middle of an attack animation. The Midir fight feels like a Pokemon battle versus a Slaking, using Protect and then hitting back with a tiny bit of chip damage. The interesting thing about Midir is using the Millwood Axe's run, we are actually able to successfully dodge a lot of its attacks. The only one that is inconsistent at best is the second big laser attack that it only does when it's in second phase, because you'd have to do a run jump and another run jump before the first one's even over, and considering it's 2 frame perfect, or well not frame perfect but near enough rolls, it just really wouldn't be feasible. And I'm gonna kind of use this section fighting Midir here like an outro. I really had a lot of fun making this video. I kind of got carried away. This was supposed to be done like a week ago, but I wanted to turn this into a big second part as opposed to a second part and a third part. But I really just love it. I really had a lot of fun making this one. I took a lot of advice from the comments when I was making this, and I tried my absolute hardest to get the audio mixing right so that it sounds normal and not, you know, the way it sounded before. But if you enjoyed, please do leave a like and a comment. If you want to subscribe, you can. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. Thanks for staying this long. But yeah, the journey is actually complete. The dragon is slain. The fair lady is nowhere to be seen. And you, my dear viewer, are going to subscribe. Good night and God bless.